In the shadow of the mighty oaks, thousands came to discuss how to rid our country from its shame. They knew the evils of the chains. Thousands of Americans forced to become slaves didn't match with the Constitution, which guaranteed every man would be free. They called themselves Republican in this little town of Jackson, and they knew their fight for this worthy cause would change the nation's fate. They took an oath for unity, and that passion still remains today. Many fights have been won, but many more are still to come. We know it won't be easy to defend this land of the free. The Jackson County Republicans stand together. We are JXNGOP.
My name is Marcy Jankovich. Welcome to the Under the Oaks podcast. I am your guest host today. I am also the Michigan Director of Women for Gun Rights, and we're on a mission to bring Second Amendment issues to the state of Michigan. And today we have a guest with us, Dena Morgan. Dena is a community organizer, and she's also a candidate for mayor of the city of Jackson. And she wanted to talk about guns today. Dena, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dena K. Morgan. Thank you for having me on Under the Oaks podcast. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here as a guest and share my thoughts on how we can better educate and empower our community around their rights and responsibilities.
All right. So, Dena, you indicated to me that you were concerned about gun violence in your community. And we usually say there isn't such a thing as gun violence. There's people violence where people use a gun to commit violence. Mm-hmm. In any event, can you give me an idea of what your concerns are?
I'm concerned that people don't know their rights and responsibilities. As I initially mentioned, they would love to own a gun. They don't know the process. So I think that will be a great start to elaborate on how they can become gun owners.
Well, you become a gun owner if you meet the qualifications to own a gun. There are certain things. Convicted felons are not allowed to purchase a gun. I think the most important thing is to take some time and maybe take a class in guns before you buy a gun, because that's a very personal decision. And one of the things I found, especially with women, is men want to tell them what they want, and we don't want what they want us to want, okay? And that's important because it's a way. If you take an introduction to pistol class, if you're talking about a pistol, which is either a semi-automatic or a revolver, if you're going to do that, then a good thing to do is to find a gun range. And one place you can do that here in Jackson is Lead Bunker out on Ann Arbor Road.
Okay.
And they have a program whereby you can rent a gun and have, in fact, you rent 3 guns and you have 10 rounds for each gun, and you take them back on the range and you shoot those 10 rounds in each gun and decide which one felt the best in your hand. And you might decide, okay, I like this third one the best, but maybe I want to try 2 more, because it's very personal. I know for myself, I shot all kinds of guns. I was gifted a gun. Actually, I got a gun called a Walther PPK 380. It was a used gun. It's the James Bond gun. It's supposed to be really sexy. It's a terrible gun to shoot, okay? And so I was not happy with that gun. And when I went to try the 3 guns, I had that one too, and I tried 2, and then my son had taken me to the gun range at Fort Riley, and because he said, "Mom, you gotta shoot your gun," and because I wasn't shooting it because it wasn't fun, and so he set up 3 guns, and then he set up another 3 guns, and when I shot the Glock 19, what hit me was I had wanted a gun for self-protection. I thought I should be, but when I shot the Glock 19, I said exactly this: I had no idea this was so much fun.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it's all about kind of getting acquainted with what you want to do and finding the gun that's right for you. And there's a lot of things to consider. And before you can consider it properly, you need to know how to properly hold a gun and aim a gun. And if you know that first, then you can better choose the gun that's best for you.
Now, did you see the video? I did participate in the Citizens Police Academy because I wanted to connect with law enforcement and know what their roles and responsibilities, and, their daily activities, and about law enforcement and how they connect with the community and what they go through on a daily basis. And that was my first time ever shooting a gun. Okay. And I know I didn't hold it properly.
Well, you didn't know yet.
I didn't know.
You
so
didn't know. See, right away you don't. But that's
okay.
okay.
I don't do that.
It takes a long time. And they say it takes a long time, and preferably, I mean, I am a certified instructor. I've been certified by NRA, by MCRGO, by USCCA, and so there's going to be things I notice that don't really matter.
Right.
It's just that your experience would be better improved if you followed some instructions. But tell me how you felt when you shot that gun.
At first I was actually scared, I don't
It's a
know
loud
why.
bang.
But I was just thinking in my mind, what does a person go through when they're shooting a gun, when they have to? I don't know if it's, but maybe self-defense or just to kill someone. I wanted to know. I guess have that hands-on experience to just have an idea of what they're thinking. So when I shot the gun, I said, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe that this happens."
And I don't normally chime in on this podcast, but I have a very personal experience, something similar to that. I was also gifted a gun, and I carry it every day. I usually carry every day, and I've actually had my gun out of its holster with intent to use it twice. But I had practiced with that gun enough that it was almost normal to me. I did everything right, but immediately after, when everything was taken care of and the adrenaline dump went down, I broke down crying.
Oh yeah.
You can't. The idea of knowing that I almost killed another human. Now in the moment, I snapped right into it. But thinking about it's a terrifying experience overall.
I think the most important thing to know is you need muscle memory. You need to practice. You need to envision, especially to have some scenarios. When this happens, I will do this. And then you need to practice that. Getting the gun out of the holster, and it should be in a holster. A holster is the safest place for your firearm. The next safest place is in a gun safe, okay? But the reason it's safe in your holster is because the bad things that happen usually start off with I didn't know the gun was loaded. I didn't know there was a child behind my target. I didn't know that this or that is going to happen. And it's the I didn'ts that get people in trouble. And so it's important to kind of anticipate those things and get that training. And for women, there is an organization in Jackson called Armed Women of America.
Okay.
They have a chapter at the Brooklyn Sportsman's Club. You don't have to belong to the Sportsman's Club to belong to Armed Women of America. You can find them online, and you can find them in Facebook. And they meet once a month, and they have an hour of classroom instruction to discuss things like the principles of self-defense and the laws and so forth. And then they have 1 hour of live fire under certified instructor supervision. And so then you can go practice with your firearm and have somebody correct your grip if it's off. I mean, because if you holding your gun and being off just a little in your grip can make a difference of a foot down range. It's going to affect your aim.
Yes.
So these are all things that you need to think about ahead of time, and that's pretty easy. It's Armed Women of America is on Facebook, and they have a website. I believe, I haven't checked lately, but I believe the dues are $70 a year. Okay. And if you go to the Brooklyn Sportsman's Club for that, you don't have to belong to the Brooklyn Sportsman's Club, although that's a really good idea, but you don't have to. And then it's a $5 range fee, which is really cheap. If you've ever been to the range, it's usually at least a minimum of $15 or $20 a half hour. So you've got your whole time there for $5. It's a good thing.
No, I thank you for all the information. I think a lot of people, like myself, would love to own a gun.
Mm-hmm.
But in my community, we do have a lot of anger issues,
Mm-hmm.
unresolved trauma. We have more than 40 unsolved murders. So there's a lot that we have to, we have to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Is this gun going to get us in more trouble down the road? I know it's good to defend yourself. I think this is an important conversation that we're having. All starts with a conversation. So, are there any classes that will help people manage their responsibilities as a gun owner?
If you took
Are there any resources?
all right, if you took a CPL class, and CPL stands for Certified Pistol License.
Okay.
We don't have CCW in Michigan. CCW is a crime. There are implements that are considered under the CCW as something you can't have. That's not about a gun, though.
Okay.
So, if you took a CPL class, you will know the law. You will have a lot of understanding about adrenaline dumps, which is real important, and things like that. And the key to gun safety is education. It's education, not legislation, that creates gun safety. Because what is legislation doing for us? It's a whole lot of people violating the law. So what we need to do is train people and educate them. When you do that and you practice, especially like if you went to Armed Women of America and they had these practice scenarios. No, you're not shooting at real people. You're shooting at a target, or you're learning how to shoot around a barrel. Because, like, what if you're I know one example when somebody said to me, "Why do I have to shoot this gun one-handed?" I said, "Well, okay. So you hear somebody breaking in, you grab your 3-year-old under your arm, and you have your firearm in your right hand. You better know how to shoot it one-handed. And you also need to think about do you really have a threat, or is that your teenage son who snuck out, sneaking back in through the window, and you make a mistake and think it's an intruder and shoot your child?" Those are things that you need to think about and discuss at home.
Can we talk about the threat?
Sure.
I know I sent you some video footage
Uh-huh.
of a incident that happened, I believe, in 2023.
Okay.
And she was upstairs in her apartment, shooting out of her bedroom window. And he's downstairs outside of the apartment.
She's in trouble.
She's in trouble. Well, she never was arrested.
Well, that's
She
surprising.
was never arrested. It was surprising to me because
That's
I
surprising.
have been researching and studying, and I'm like, that even when I went to the Citizens Police Academy, I did ask that question, and they had some big question marks. Like, oh wow. So
Sometimes there can be lots of reasons why that we don't know about, evidence problems
Right.
or whatever. But let's look at her situation.
Okay.
You have to be in imminent threat of your life. There was another situation out on Town Road, I think it was, where a guy was watching from his front porch in the dark, where these teenagers were robbing sheds. Were robbing sheds and breaking into cars and everything on his property.
Okay.
And he stood on his porch and he shot them.
Mm-hmm.
He was tried, and he's in prison as we speak. And the reason why is you have to be in imminent threat of your own personal life. The only justification for shooting somebody is that your own life is in danger. Not he's taking my car, not your property. Not you have to really, really have a legitimate, and it kind of goes by the everyman rule. Every man knows that in this situation, everybody would be scared, okay? It's not just scared. It's in reasonable fear that that person's going to take your life. So if they're running away from you, you don't have that. You don't have that.
is it so many feet, or what's
If they're running away from
No,
you,
it's
the minute they turn their back.
the,
so
que-
if she's upstairs in her apartment and shooting?
that was murder,
Well, he's paralyzed for life. I think he was
Oh,
18
okay.
or 19 at
right?
that time, but he's paralyzed and he's homeless, kind of semi-homeless. They're having some challenging times, as
Sure.
a result. So,
Sure.
we,
All right, it was a wrongful shooting. I'll put
Pardon
it
me?
that. It was a wrongful shooting.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
probably.
okay.
I mean, very, very clearly could have got manslaughter on that.
Great bodily harm is
Yeah.
another
well,
thing.
she was never even arrested. So I was extremely surprised.
I am disappointed to have to tell you the correct answer to every legal question is that depends.
It
It always
depends,
starts
right.
out that depends. And there's a whole lot of circumstances that go into that because there's elements of crime. And when you get to court, you have to prove all those elements. And I don't know what proofs, challenges the police or the prosecutor might have had in that case. Maybe none. Maybe there were some that we don't know. But it wasn't because he was outside her apartment being obnoxious.
He
Okay.
was busting windows. He never entered. She was on the phone. She was
But
arguing.
busting windows is pretty serious. That could be conceived as a threat to your life.
Okay.
I would be afraid if somebody's breaking my windows. I'm thinking they're coming in next. So,
But if you can see them, and they're outside,
well,
and you're
again,
upstairs,
you're
and you have a gun,
and
call
again,
the police.
again,
police.
and again, it's what she should have done is called the police.
Yeah.
I don't know because, like I said,
police.
every situation has its own. I am a certified paralegal.
Right. Okay.
I am not.
Really?
Yeah, I am not qualified to give legal
Awesome.
advice. Okay, I am not qualified
No,
to give legal
no
advice.
legal advice.
So
I
I can tell
understand.
you what the law is, but I can't apply it to
Right.
circumstances without committing the unauthorized practice of law.
At least due process.
So
At
in-
least, I would like to see that handled in the courts.
Mhm.
At least, at minimum.
Unfortunately, it sounds like that was the due process. I mean, the due process started. She wasn't arrested. She wasn't convicted. That is technically the definition of due process, if I'm correct.
Right.
And I hate to interject, but especially with today's climate, with that Chud the Builder situation and things like that. And things I've heard. Marcy, I don't know if you know or can explain how other states compared to Michigan with the stand your ground laws.
Yeah.
Right.
Michigan doesn't technically have a stand your ground law.
Well, yeah. You have technically we do. You do not have to retreat, and that's what a stand your
Castle
ground
law is what I was thinking, not stand your ground. Castle law, like Florida has.
Castle doctrine.
Yeah, castle doctrine. Yes.
Yeah,
that includes your
within the
vehicle.
curtilage of your home. There is a castle doctrine in the state of Michigan to that, but the curtilage is the barriers outside of your home coming in, and it gets to be kind of complicated. But you do have a right to defend your home. But you don't have, even if somebody's breaking into your home, if there's no indication they are going to hurt you, you don't have a right to shoot them. If they're stealing your car, you don't have a right to shoot them. If they're breaking into your shed, you don't have a right to shoot them. And you will be prosecuted if you do, either for intention to commit great bodily harm or for murder. So you don't want to do that.
I'm not sure if it was in Michigan or if it might have been Tennessee. A gentleman shot through his door, knowing that he had been robbed before. He shot through his door, and I think the case is still ongoing.
Happened in Livonia.
Livonia. Okay, maybe I heard the story.
A young black woman. Her car broke down. She was scared.
I remember that.
She wanted to call somebody. She went to the house and she pounded, trying to get some way to be helped, and he shot her through the door. And he was found guilty. He was not. There was no way that was what he needed to do. If he was afraid of her, was call 911.
Yeah, and I wasn't aware of that one, but the case I was speaking of, it was a gentleman, and then there was 3, I think, minors under 18. That he was in his garage, not connected to his home, in his garage, and he had been robbed by these same children, same minors. And when they came up to the door, like they always did, he just shot through the door and killed one of them. And I know the court case is ongoing. I just can't remember where it was. I think it was in Michigan.
The history depends a lot. I mean, if he had a reason to fear these people, the fear just has to be reasonable. It doesn't have to be actual. So, but it has to be reasonable. And I'm sorry, shooting from your bedroom window to somebody down below, I don't find that reasonable. I don't think a court would either, but maybe we don't have all the details that we need.
And you sent me a graphic that I think also fits right into this conversation.
Sure.
Right here. I think this is, I've never seen this graphic until you sent it to me, but I think it's the very simple way to think about it.
Right.
I mean, the simple rules are listed right there, 4 steps.
If you follow all of these rules, you will never have a negligent discharge. If you follow even one of all of these rules, you won't have one. And the first one is to keep your finger off the trigger until your eye is on target. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're absolutely ready to kill that whatever is in front of you.
Yep, until you're ready to destroy whatever is pointed at.
Never let the muzzle cover anything you don't want to destroy. That's important because it might not be a person; it might be a tire. It might,
Right.
and then keep. I can't see that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Keep your fingers off the trigger until your sights are on target. And the really important one, and the one that people miss, is being aware of your target and what's beyond it. Most of the shootings, there was a shooting in New York, and innocent people were killed because the police didn't pay attention to all the brick buildings that were around them as they shot at the suspect, and the ricochets killed innocent children. So
Oh,
you need to
wow.
know what's beyond your target. So when you take aim, what's behind that thing that you're shooting at? And those are things that you learn by taking the trainings. And there's lots of opportunities to have training. There's all different kinds. I've mentioned Armed Women of America, but there's other ones put on by the NRA and MCRGO, which is Michigan Coalition of Responsible Gun Owners. And while we're talking about Michigan Coalition of Responsible Gun Owners, which is www.mcr.org, if you join that, you will get a update on the law every Monday.
Oh.
And they really cover what your responsibilities are. They also offer CPL training and other gun safety programs.
And how much is the cost?
I don't know because I haven't done it in a long time. But what the CPL class cost is probably more than it was for me 20 years ago. But
How
anyway,
much was it for you?
for me it was $125.
Okay, wow.
So
And
think-
That's what mine
included
was
that?
15 years ago.
15?
Yeah, I did mine through Rand CPL.
Rand CPL is a
And,
is a good company, and they're
Yeah,
right here. In
I think it was
town.
$125, but the upside is the actual cost of the concealed license has gone down
Yes, it
significantly.
has down to $35. It used to be much more, but you do have to get the training. And Rand is a fine company. My company, Michigan Combat Dynamics, also teaches that. Not just guns; it's a good place to go, even if you're shopping for guns. They have that same program I was telling you about,
Extremely helpful too.
where you can try the gun. Try before you buy is important. So
Why is that so important?
because when you look, I didn't bring a gun. I should have brought a gun.
Oh, wow, really? Why didn't you?
Because didn't you see all the posts downstairs?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so otherwise I would have. But it's very very important that you do that because there are all kinds of little pieces and parts of a gun. One of the things is a gun safety. Some have a safety, some don't. A Glock has the safety in the trigger, and you don't have to have a safety on it. But a Smith & Wesson might have one you need to flip with your thumb or whatever. So then there's the magazine release. Where is that? So you need to see how that gun fits your hand. And you
Oh.
need to understand what you're going to do. So when you're holding that gun, it's like, okay, now I want to drop the magazine. And just a little pet peeve of mine. It is not a clip. It is a magazine.
A
okay?
magazine.
It's
Clips-
a magazine.
Clips
not a
go in
clip.
your hair.
I'm learning. I don't know anything
Clips go in your
about
hair.
guns. I'm
So-
so
So if you want to drop the magazine, can I do that? Does my thumb reach to it? The more you have to fumble with the gun to do a thing like that, the more likely there is that something unfortunate would happen. Another thing that you
makes
might,
sense.
another thing besides taking off the safety and doing that, you just need to see how it feels in your hand. Is it too heavy for you? Is it there's all kinds of things like that to consider. But especially as you manipulate that gun, and then grip it. Where are your hands? Can you maintain a proper grip on that gun, or is the grip handle too big or too little? Is the gun too big or too little? A lot of times, little bitty guns. Oh, a thing people don't know. The smaller the gun, the bigger the recoil. It doesn't make sense, except that the gun absorbs recoil. And if it's small, it doesn't absorb as much recoil. as if you have. And so those little bitty
I
guns
didn't
are
know that.
cute. But if it's not absorbing the recoil and you pull the trigger and you do this, okay, then your bullet is not going to, the terminus of that bullet isn't going to be where you intended.
Absolutely. And
That's what
another
happened when I shot the gun.
Yeah.
yeah, another personal story I had regarding the size of guns. The gun that was gifted to me, which is my everyday carry, is a Smith & Wesson Walter 45. It's ambidextrous. It had the magazine release on both sides. The safety was in the trigger, kind of like a double trigger almost. But the important thing is actually the gentleman who gifted me that gun, he was a Glock guy. And I can't remember the model. You probably know the subcompact,
Okay.
the smallest one. One time he asked,
43, I think.
yeah, he asked me if I wanted to carry it, and I was like, okay. I didn't like it because it was so small. I couldn't feel it. I carry it on the swell of my back. I couldn't feel it. Now the full size 45, you know that gun is there. I prefer that way. I know it's always there in case it does pop out of the holster, which is rare. But or someone takes it or whatever, I know it's there at all times.
Well, and that's another thing you need to think about. I think I mentioned that the safest place for your firearm is in a holster. Some carry it in the back, some on their right side. I carry mine on my right side. Others, more ladies than others, carry up what they call appendix style. You need to sort out as you're deciding what you want to buy. I know when I first bought my Glock and I was all excited and I said, now I have to get a holster. And my son said, Mom, one day you're going to have more holsters than purses. I scoffed at him. I now have more holsters than purses.
How many do you have?
I haven't counted more than 20. But I have more than one gun now too. So
Really? Okay.
yeah. And the holster has to fit your gun properly. The right retention has to be there.
And you can carry that gun in your holster anytime, anywhere?
Yes.
Really?
Well, actually, a great example of why you don't have your firearm with you today, Marcy.
Right.
Well, yeah, but that's not Michigan law. That the Michigan law just permits.
I can walk down the street?
Yes, you can open carry. There's an organization too that you might want to look that up. It's called MichiganOpenCarry.org. And a good friend of mine, Casey Armitage, is the chair of that. And she's also on our board of Women for Gun Rights and running for state representative in Macomb County. And so,
I can drive in my car?
yes, let's talk about your car.
Okay, yes.
You can drive in your car, and once you get in your car with that gun, even though you're open carrying, you are now concealed carrying because it's concealed by the car.
If you have your gun in your car, you're no longer, there's a different set of rules.
You
Is that
now,
correct?
yeah, the open carry doesn't require a license. Carrying
Okay.
concealed requires a license. And if you don't have it, then you have violated that when you get in a car with your gun, even though you have it open in a holster on your hip.
So once you're in your car,
It's now concealed.
it's now concealed.
Right, and you didn't have to put it in the glove box. You didn't have to put it under the seat like people do. So, okay, so you have your carry concealed permit, all right? And you're in your car, and you pull up to the store, and your wife is with you, and she doesn't have one. And you don't have your gun on you. You put it in the glove box, and you go in the store. If the police come and they find that gun, she is guilty
Wow.
of violating the concealed license
Wow.
laws. And that's a thing that you really need to be careful about.
Wow. I didn't
Because
know.
there have been cases where people have been, I know of one in person in Ohio. I don't know of one in Michigan, but that is you need to know that.
What if I come to your home
What if you do?
and I'm not licensed,
Well, that's all right.
and you know it's okay because
Yeah,
what?
as long as I say it's okay.
But when it's in a car, it's different.
Right.
Why is that so different? Why
Bec-
does
bec-
it change drastically like that?
Because
You
you
have
can,
to ask
they
the
don't know you have a
legislators
gun
that.
when your door's closed. If you're sitting there with your gun in your holster, you're no longer open carrying because it can't be seen. You got a car in the way.
So is it important? Can people just get certified, or what is it? Legalized,
A carry
just
concealed
in
permit,
case, even if they
CPL.
don't own a gun, or what's going on here?
Yeah, I took my I didn't buy my gun until after I got my CPL.
Okay.
So
And see, I had my gun before I had my CPL, and I open carried or had it secured in the trunk in a
yeah,
safe.
there are ways you can carry like
What is the proper term?
CPL, carry concealed pistol.
Yes, yeah, like you said before.
CCW stands for carry concealed weapon.
Okay.
There are certain pepper sprays, and I haven't kept up with what they
Swords,
are.
knives.
there are certain objects that are considered weapons that you can violate the carry concealed weapon law.
And I did find kind of what the wording on the law here. I have it displayed on the screen. The prohibited locations, vehicle transport, private property, and law enforcement interactions, and what you can do. And literally, this was a simple Google search. Michigan open carry. I Googled it. This is what came up. So, any questions regarding open carry? That is,
Google.
and you'll find it right away. They don't hide it.
You'll also find the Michigan Open Carry organization, of which my friend is chair.
That's what I originally was looking up, but I found that on the way.
Yeah.
And you're the president of.
I am not president of anything. I am
No?
the Michigan director of Women for Gun Rights.
Okay.
She is the president of Michigan Open Carry.
Thank you for.
Okay, it's
Fair,
important
fine.
to know those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are the most common misunderstandings people have about self-defense?
Well, the first one is that you can stand in your bedroom window and shoot somebody
Pardon
down.
me, say that
The,
again.
the first one might be that you can stand in your bedroom window and shoot somebody down on the street. That would be a first one.
Why
every-
is that? Can you let?
Because she was not in imminent danger, from the facts that I've been given.
Right.
And again, there may be situations or histories that we don't know. Has this person, harassed her routinely? Has he threatened her? Did he leave her threatening messages? We don't. There's a lot we don't know. Was he sending her text messages? I'm going to come and you know what you? I mean, she doesn't know. So that all of those affect her mindset. Okay. So that's why I say, well, education.
But that should be handled in the court of law, right?
Well, no. If you're really unfair, you're really unfair. Okay. But I don't know why she wasn't arrested. Maybe the police know there were ongoing things that we don't know about that don't appear on the surface, okay? Like threatening text messages, threatening at her car, other history that we don't know. That could make a difference.
If the person there that say in that situation she was shooting at, if she had an active PPO or HRO against them, do you know where that law falls? Is that considered imminent danger?
Well, it would. Again, I'm not an attorney, but if she had a personal protection order that he was violating, that would certainly go to perhaps her not being charged.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yes, yeah, and I wasn't sure either. I was just considering that it's like obviously the court had granted that order that she needs to be protected from this person. So, and that's something I can research and we can look into.
And this is something I'd really love for Kelsey Guernsey to answer. as
Yeah, that
opposed
would
to
be
me.
great.
Which
I have her phone.
I really like her. I find her reasonable. For example, if someone, I think she might reconsider charging someone, even though I'm all for any time there's a violation of gun rights, or a shooting. But mostly I'm when it's involving some kind of crime of violence. Now it's a crime if you put your gun in the glove compartment and you go in the store and you didn't have a carry concealed permit. That's a violation of a crime that should maybe not be prosecuted because the person should be educated and they haven't committed a violent crime or made any threats or anything like that. But I am of the opinion that any time violence is involved, the prosecution should happen. And I used to work for John McBain when he was prosecutor. He's now judge. And I worked for him for 10 years. I was his paralegal.
Wow.
Yeah. And
nice to know you.
and he instituted a policy with his assistant prosecutors that if they had the elements for a gun crime, they were to charge it and they were not to plea bargain it. And the year he implemented that, there had been, I think, 5 homicides using a gun in Jackson County. 2 years later, because it takes a while for things to shake through, 2 years later, that number was 0. However, we did have a murder involving golf clubs. We did have a murder involving a freezer. We did have a murder involving, what was the other thing? A baseball bat. 2 actually involving baseball bats. And that's why I say it isn't gun violence that's the problem. It's violence, period. People are just as dead if you hit them with a baseball bat and kill them as they are if you shot them with a bullet and killed them. So those are the reasons I think that. Now he did that, and gun crime was way down in Jackson, and he's not been the prosecutor in Jackson for a long time, and I don't know. We also have a problem with misdemeanor crimes. We can't put them in jail because we don't have adequate jail space, and I don't know why this community won't come up with a proper jail. Our jail, this is my personal opinion, violates the Eighth Amendment of the Constitution. It's cruel and unusual punishment, especially for women.
Finally, Sheriff Schutte, through the state, has secured some fundage to expand and to renovate
That's awesome.
Chanter Street.
That's
Because the main jail down at the sheriff's department, that is a disaster.
It is unhealthy. It's there's not women have no exercise space or opportunity for recreation when they're incarcerated there. They really have, I think, some situations that are violate federal law.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things on Chanter Road. The funds he's secured, he's been big on adding a women's barracks.
Yes.
Because they have to be separated from the men, obviously.
Right. And so the citizens seem to think the people who are incarcerated and who stay in the jail deserve whatever awful thing they get. They don't. But if the federal government decides to take over and declare it, they can take over that, and they can impose taxes, and they can put us in a place that's not fun.
Well, hopefully, they will have more programs. I don't know why. I don't know if they're studying for their GED at this time in the county jail, learning their rights and responsibilities.
I think they do have those opportunities.
Okay.
I do think they do. But jail is kind of more temporary. It's more prison when you get those. And also Chanter.
Sometimes people are in there for a year or 2 years.
Well, that's after their sentence. See,
right.
most of the people in our town jail are waiting for trial.
Okay.
So that I don't think those programs are available to them while they're waiting for trial. But post conviction, those programs are available. And
it all starts with the discussion.
Yes.
I think it's important that the community gets more involved and are a part of the discussion and decision making.
And
they
to think
did
about
vote no,
and to think
like
about
what,
ways to
two or three times about the new jail, paying
Yeah.
the money for it.
And then we can also discuss ways. Refuse to be a victim is also a program, and that doesn't involve guns. But there's a lot of things you can do if you think about it. Look around your home and think, when this happens, I will. One of the things I do, even though I have a firearm, is I also have, I don't walk around with it on my hip all the time at home. So next to my front door, I have a baseball bat. And they can be quite deadly if you need to defend yourself. Swing a bat at somebody. It's important to just kind of think things through and do the I will. When this happens, I will. And not if this happens, when this happens. And really think it through. How many steps does it take to get to your firearm? Is it in a locked safe? If so, how long does it take you to open it? Time those things so that you know. And that's safe storage is another big thing that people need to know about.
I do have a question about, what if someone comes to your home and you open the door and they're standing there and they're trying to fight you or fight someone in your home and you shoot them? How does that play out?
Again, every situation like that is a that depends situation. That depends on what that situation really is at that time that you see at the door, because you could be very mistaken about what that person's intentions are. It's not a thing you can just say, hey, here's your cut and dried answer, because that depends on the total circumstances. A total stranger at your home trying to push their way in is very different from a person who's selling Bibles. Okay, so you just kind of have to look at the totality of the circumstances.
One kind of roundabout answer to your question, because I wasn't sure, but I checked it. And this is according to MCL, whatever. If someone punches you in the head or above your shoulders, it is intent to do great bodily harm, and usually is pretty good standing for self-defense.
Yes. Okay. Actually, if they pound you in the back, it's not. If they put hands on you, okay. That's my opinion. I'm not an attorney. Again, I'm not giving legal advice to anybody. But if somebody put their hands, I can tell you what I would do if somebody put their hands on me. I wouldn't hesitate.
I completely agree. I mean, again, just looking up just the MCL pulled up. Big things. I mean, obviously, there's a million different things they have to prove to show that it wasn't self-defense. Like absence of an injury. A conviction does not require the victim to suffer a physical injury. So, just because I got punched in the head, you might not have an injury. I'm dead. Well, it still could be self-defense, but there's always that gray area.
Well, it's a good thing you brought that up because the burden of proof changes. We all know that you're innocent until proven guilty. But if you claim self-defense, it's up to you to prove you're innocent. You don't have that guarantee. The burden of proof shifts. Let's talk.
So what if you're a felon and
That's
are there
as
second
open and
chances
closed. Pretty much, if you're a felon, you shoot somebody, you're a felon with a firearm. My understanding.
Felons
do
are
they
not.
get second chances to? Is there a second chance?
There
program?
are ways to get records expunged that would permit you then to buy a firearm. That's there's not a cut and dried thing on that. But what you have to do is after X number of years get your record expunged. You are going to have to hire an attorney to make that happen. But it is possible to regain your civil right to have a firearm. It is possible, depending. Again, we're back to that.
What about
depends.
drugs if they have drug convictions?
Here again, we're back to that. Every situation is unique. So, the one I know about was
If they get their record expunged, there's a
if they can
greater
get their record.
opportunity
Yes,
for them to.
yes.
Well, speaking of like drugs or intoxicants at all, if you shoot somebody and you have intoxicants in your body, they're going to test you.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, I mean, and that's
Anytime.
where like the
If you have a-
marijuana laws start coming into a
If
weird
you're-
gray area.
If you're pulled over
So you
and you're
can't consume alcohol or.
no, and the blood alcohol level is far lower than what it is for driving.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I believe it's 0.02.
0.01%.
Is it 0.01?
0.01.
Okay.
Wow. I
And
didn't know that. See,
any
it's
more
good to
than
know.
that, and you are in trouble. I don't touch it. So,
Wow.
if I
So it's a lot to learn here.
if I go to a restaurant, I have a safe in my car, okay? Because I have a GMC Denali, I don't have a trunk like some might have, where I would even suggest that you put your firearm in the wheel well as opposed to. But anyway, so I have a safe that has a combination that hooks by cable to the frame of my car, and so if I come up to a restaurant and I think I'm going to go in, I'm going to have a few beers or some wine or whatever. If I'm going to have more than one glass of wine at dinner and leave that place 3 hours later, then my firearm is locked in the car, in a safe, in a gun safe.
And where do you have to lock your car? I mean, your gun in the car.
Okay.
Again, one more time.
It's
'Cause I think people get confused about that also.
it can be anywhere if you have a
Anywhere.
gun safe, but
It has to be in a gun safe in the car. Like,
all right. So or you can store it you can store your gun and the ammo in a trunk with the ammunition separate from the firearm. There's it has to be where you can't reach it easily as the driver, and you can I mean, I've taken my gun on airplanes. So,
really?
oh yeah, it's quite a procedure. But I have special case that double locks that no way could somebody pry that case open. You store it in there totally unloaded. You have the ammunition separate from the firearm, and you have to go to the front, the front ticket desk, and you tell them that you have a firearm you want to transport. You can't take it in your carry-on luggage. It has to be checked. And so then you have to go through the ATF inspection, and they inspect that your gun is stored the way it needs to be stored and all that kind of stuff. And they take control of your luggage until you get to and they're the ones that take it to wherever it's supposed to go. You don't get to touch it after that.
so what if you have mental health issues? How does that play out?
Well, you have to
do you have to go through a different process to own a gun, or are there any background checks? What's going on right now?
No, there's not any of that.
Nothing?
When you get your CPL license, you certify that you don't have mental health issues.
Just based on your word.
Yes,
Okay.
under oath. Yes. And if somebody knows different, they can report that, you know.
Okay.
But
And who would they report that to?
well, probably the sheriff's department. There are things called red flag laws.
Ugh.
The red flag laws are awful because they totally violate your due process rights.
Red flag laws mean that I could say, "Hey, Marcy said some mean things to me, and I know she has guns," and they can go and take all of her firearms until no due process. There is no due process.
There's
with
no due
red flag.
process. Eventually, you might be able to get your firearms back. I haven't researched it thoroughly, but I do know that you have no due process. And why would you do that? The sheriff or the police will come and take your guns, but they don't make you have a mental health evaluation. We have laws that say, hey, you know, Marcy's really out there. We really need to be concerned about her. And they can put forth a legal proceeding that has you evaluated up at Henry Ford Hospital for a mental health evaluation. And that has your due process covered. And that's what you should do, because under the red flag laws, they just take your guns. They don't give you any kind of mental health treatment, diagnosis, evaluation, or anything. And that's why they're so wrong.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Just for reference, under federal law, a mental illness diagnosis does not alone disqualify you from owning a firearm. The primary prohibitions under this federal law apply only if a person has adjudicated as a mental defective, or committed or is committed or been committed to a mental institution by a court or a law authority.
I suffer from depression as a mental health issue. That doesn't mean you can't own a firearm. I'm suicidal. It might be another another issue. So.
Well, and it goes on to say, this isn't the law, it's just a general paragraph. Most mental health conditions, including depression or PTSD, do not automatically bar gun ownership unless accompanied by the specific legal statutes of involuntary commitment or adjudicated incompetence.
Right.
So it pretty much, if you get sent to the loony bin, you're probably not going to be able to own a gun.
Probably not.
So if I want to own a gun, I'm not a gun owner.
Uh-huh.
So what would be the first step?
I think the first step would be to take a class. I teach one called Meet Your Pistol.
Meet your pistol.
Meet Your Pistol, and we have loaner guns that you can use. We don't have any retail at our range. Michigan Combat Dynamics is the name of our company.
Okay.
And in Meet Your Pistol, you're just going to learn about that gun. That's not a CPL class. That just teaches you about guns. What do you want to know about guns? And that's what I recommend. And you can get kind of the same sort of thing any range that you go to, especially if you go to Ann Arbor Arms or Lead Bunker. There are people there who will work on that with you. Okay, so in Meet Your Pistol, what I teach is, all right, here's your pistol. What are the moving parts? What does it do? What do I need to think about? So we'll start with just the basics, the rules of. There are. I'm trying to think what to call it. Anything needs a good foundation. So you start out with your stance, and then after your stance is your draw, and then after that is your presentation, and then after that is your aim, after that is your shoot, and then everybody doesn't know this, but you do have to follow through. So like when your gun went like that, everybody's gun may jump some, okay? But when your gun went like that, then the thing you need to do, you're not done until you bring that back on target. Because just like golf or tennis, when you shoot your firearm, you need to follow through.
So I would go, where would I go to make this happen? What, to the gun store? Or?
Well, you can call Michigan. I would look online. There are lots of places that have that sort of thing. They either call it basic.
I'm saying after we go through the educational piece of it.
I'm not following. You mean where do you go to buy it?
Yes. If I want to purchase the gun, I go to the gun store.
Yes, and the reason I say no basic pistol, for example, if you go to Shoot Packs, which is a fine gun store, but they don't have a range where you can shoot. So that's why I recommend Lead Bunker.
Okay.
Now, if you already know what you want, Shoot Packs is a great place to go.
Is that here in Jackson?
Yes, it is. It's on, what's the name of that street? Huh?
No,
Yeah, Pearl.
It's right next to Night Lights.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a great place. And they have a lot of very helpful salespeople there. You're going to have to decide what you want. Do you want a revolver or do you want a semi-automatic? I don't like revolvers because you shoot 6 bullets and then you have to reload, and it takes a lot of time to reload. They do have speed reloaders, but none of them as fast as a semi-automatic. People think women can't shoot a semi-automatic because when men want to rack the slide on a semi-automatic, they have their gun out here and they pull it back way back. We're not strong there. So you can have trouble racking the slide, which is how you load a bullet into the chamber so that it can be shot. But women need to, and some men need to hold it up here, and you put your hand on the top of the slide, and you push pull. Right now,
What if I own a shotgun?
I'm not good at talk about shotguns, but Brooklyn
Okay.
Sportsman's Club has a whole shotgun program.
Can I own a shotgun? And
Shotguns are a whole different animal too.
that's what I thought.
Purchasing and
Yeah.
having and carrying and everything. It's a whole different animal.
It's very
we
good
have to
for.
do part 2 about the shotgun.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't be me, but there are people at the Brooklyn Sportsman's Club has all kinds of shotgun programs, and some of our high schools have shotgun teams for competitions with shotguns. I know for sure Columbia does. I think there are other ones besides Columbia. There's a whole that's a whole another thing. I don't shoot shotguns. Shotguns are too heavy for me. I get too tired trying to hold them up. And then when you do clay shooting, you have to aim different. So they release a clay bird, and you're supposed to shoot the clay bird, and you're supposed to shoot it ahead of where it is right now. It isn't a thing I do. But a lot of people do, and a lot of people find it a lot of fun. Not me. It's not my thing.
Like I said, I don't know anything about guns. I'm learning. I think it's important for our community to get educated and empowered. I do feel empowered.
Good.
Feel more confident. I'm not sure I'm ready to be a gun owner, but I will keep on.
There'll come a time when you have the confidence. I mean, I wouldn't allow a gun in my home because I couldn't supervise them. And my son came home from the Marine Corps, and I have news for you: you can't tell your Marine you can't have a gun in your house just because you don't know how to supervise them. So
I have 3 grandchildren. So
this is what changed things for me. Safe storage is real important when you have two grandchildren. A police officer's child was shot because he went in to take his shower after his put his gun up on top of the dresser, not thinking I don't remember how old the child was, but he was 2 or 3, and he got his gun and shot himself and killed him. Imagine how that
terrible.
police officer felt. I mean, or any parent would feel. So safe storage is critical, and the best thing if your firearm is not with you is to have it unloaded. Now, can you put it in your nightstand? Yeah, but some people use like fingerprint identification safes. Some people don't use any safe, but you need to know that a child is not going to get a hold of that loaded gun.
Right.
That's
Or
important.
my dog. No.
Usually, because they don't have thumbs.
Right. You never know with him, though.
Some of them are really smart. The other thing I would say is the biggest
So I
thing.
wouldn't have to worry about my dog.
The biggest thing is education, and if you educate yourself enough, and there are opportunities where you can shoot firearms without having to buy one, and you'll know better what you want to buy.
I would like to go shoot.
Yeah.
Are there any gun, facilities here in Jackson?
Yes, there's Lead Bunker.
Lead bunker. Okay.
Lead Bunker. There's an excellent teacher there. Her name is Marcy Walden, I think. But anyway, I haven't been out there in a long time. That's indoors, and a lot of people have gone there. If you went to Lead Bunker, it's usually because it's Michigan, it's January, you want to get your gun license, and you don't want to shoot outside.
Right,
So,
okay.
although I have news for you, bad guys don't just come on the 4th of July. It's a good idea to learn how to shoot outside. But it's the more you learn about it, the more comfortable you will be. But don't buy one until you're comfortable. Don't buy one until you're sure this is the gun I want, because you've really investigated it, not just because it's the Walther PPK 380 really sexy James Bond gun like I did.
But we don't have to own a gun.
No.
to get licensed, and I think I am going to get licensed.
No, in fact, if you train with
am
Michigan
going to
Combat
do that.
Dynamics, we have guns we can loan you.
Okay.
You have to sign, release of liability things and things like that. But most of the time, that's possible.
Rand was the same way. Rand offered loaner guns during
Yeah.
the CPL course or CCW course.
Right.
CPL.
And
Do you
I
know
think
how much the CPL courses are right now?
I'll look it up.
Thank you.
let's do look it up because it's probably good to know. I know ours are 150.
150.
Uh huh.
Cool.
But we usually wait until.
So what happens? We pay 150.
Okay, well, for Michigan Combat Dynamics, we are a very small outfit. We don't have any retail, and we limit our class size to 8 because we have 2 range safety officers and an instructor.
Okay.
That's how many people we have for 8 people. Okay, and so then if you organize it and you get 7 people or even 6, the person who besides you. The person who organized that gets $25 off.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
and I know one time we trained and we used loaner guns and so forth. There's a church on Brown Street. It's a Church of the Nazarene. I have a photograph of the people in that church. The whole church safety team took our CPL class,
Oh, nice.
and so that's another thing to think about. We didn't talk about that, but you might want to find out if your church or your organization has a safety plan and a defense plan. I don't know if you know Judy Bivens. She's this little tiny 83-year-old grandma, and she's on her church safety team. And I'll tell you what, she's a deadly shot.
I would agree with her. Michigan classes generally cost between $69 and $150. Specific providers, $89. It looks like, $150 is probably. I would assume $150 most of the time.
Okay.
Where when I got
That's
mine,
good
the
to know,
average
thank you.
price was $300, so it's come way down. There's more instructors now. What you're going to want to know is who certified that instructor.
I know you're certified.
Yes, but I'm certified by a lot of different organizations.
Right.
Most people are only certified by one. I just never get enough training. I just really like it, so I have a whole lot of stuff I don't have to have. But you want someone who is certified by NRA, Michigan Coalition of Responsible Gun Owners, or USCCA, which is United States Concealed Pistol Association, USCCA. Anyway, they are reputable certification companies.
Is that something we can bring to some of the community centers, you think, or no?
Is that, yeah,
Like King Center, and,
yeah.
just to bring it.
Well, if as far as the law part, yeah, they can't shoot there.
They
so-
can't shoot there.
But,
So what kind of programs can we bring to the community
well,
where they can have
we
access
can
to it? A
present
lot of
the
people don't have.
entire CPL program minus the shooting, and that won't get you your CPL license. But you will. The whole purpose of CPL isn't safety. It's really not. You don't really learn how to shoot in a CPL class. You learn the law.
Rand
Learn
CPL is
the safety
$120, by the way. $120. Looks like most of the courses through Rand. You can also become an NRA instructor for $250.
Does that answer your
Do you
question?
think it would be important or a good?
I think if people want
idea-
to know,
At least
especially
once a year.
especially people who aren't ready
At
to shoot
minimum.
anything yet. Because if you take a CPL proper class, and we could probably adjust the price if we're not gonna, like if I came and gave a CPL class, but we're not gonna do the shooting part at the King Center or whatever, we can adjust that price way down.
Okay.
And I would negotiate that at the time, depending on, and you're gonna be at least 4 hours.
For anyone in the Jackson area, again, Rand CPL is who I went through. I was looking up his prices. They have a full list of all of the classes they offer, the prices and everything, at randcpl.com. So.
And our website is michigancombatdynamics.org. That's Michigan Combat, COMBAT. Dynamics is DYNAMIX. The X is not a mistake. Spell check will try to change it to a C. The X is for the 4 principles of marksmanship. So it's covering your stance, your grip, that kind of thing. So That's my company. We've got a website too.
Oh, thank you. Do you have a phone number?
517-782-0433. It's answered by an answering machine and it's monitored.
Okay.
And or if you know me, get a hold of me and we can.
And I'll put all the information in the description of this video. So
Sure.
Thank you.
So I like our website, but we've got to change something on it. It shows me as still the leader of Armed Women of America, and I quit that 3 years ago to become the Michigan Director of Women for Gun Rights. So,
Okay, good.
but it's a
Congratulations.
wonderful organization, both of them. So, but Women for Gun Rights is strictly political. We don't. All of us shoot, but we don't, that's not our program. So, and I'd also like to remind everybody, Eric Nesbitt will be here June 17th at 5 p.m. at the Commonwealth Commerce Center. Please come for that. And also Under the Oaks, which is a thing we celebrate every year, which is the anniversary of the foundation of the Republican Party. Under the Oaks right here in Jackson. Every year it's on July 6th. This year there's no exception. There will be a brief program Under the Oaks, which is at the corner of 3rd, is it 3rd?
2nd Street and Franklin.
Yeah, okay. And that evening there is another event planned, and we don't have the details on that yet, but it's going to be a big party, just so you know.
Nice.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, jxngop.org. You can find all that information.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I enjoy being on the show. My hope is that we can continue to educate and uplift our community. I am running for mayor, and I'm just trying to come together with solutions and have the conversations that we need to, there's a lot of, you don't want to say gun violence, but we have a lot of issues with guns in our community. So thank you for having me and educating us.
Responsible gun ownership
Appreciate
is so critical, and the more you learn about it, the better. And I think that covers what we were going to cover today for Under the Oaks. Thank you for tuning in. And my name is Marcy Jankovich. I appreciated this opportunity to be a guest host.